we're still reviewing the front pages of the paper. We're currently looking at the Punch. Major headline, food crisis may worsen as flood hits 10 states. Farmers groan as flood ravages farmland in Sokoto, Kano, Kebbi, 7 others. There's obviously the picture of the officials of the National Emergency Management Agency and State Emergency Management Agency distributing relief materials to flood victims in Damaturu, Yobe State on Sunday. And in other news, police detectives hunt 20 varsity student abductors. Vietnam-bound businessman excretes 88 cocaine wraps. Civil servant screening on IPPIS portal ends on Friday. NNPC battle deepened as deepening fuel scarcity, black market booms. Presidential jet Abiodun consults federal government as Utomi tackles Amosu. Federal government eyes $2 billion from local dollar bond sale and fake degree. Federal government orders varsity to submit matriculation list. So what story are we starting with?
You know, with the incoming flood. In fact, in Jigawa State, the Secretary of Jigawa State Emergency Management Agency, Dr. Aruna Meriga, was talking about 2,744 hectares of farmland already washed away by floods. Wow. So they're predicting that floods will ravage most of the states. They mentioned about 12 local governments within the state that floods would ravage. Farmers' accounts is not encouraging. As farmers are celebrating the availability of water in Zamfara, they're also afraid that once the flood comes in, they're going to have drought following after the flood. The state emergency.
It's not rainfall, Abi?
Yeah.
It's not rainfall.
No, it's due to the heavy rainfall right now, and then when it goes, immediately it predicts, it precedes the harmattan, and then you have extreme dryness, and so the state emergency management agency is also talking about how many farmlands are destroyed. The local governments, about 12 of them mentioned. The agency's director, Zubeida Umar in Zamfara State, is saying downscaling of floods and early warning strategies for early action should be a program that the government should start sensitizing on. Also, the Hydrological Services Agency predicted this year's annual rainfall, and they're looking at 31 states and 148 local government areas that will be highly affected. They said those are high flood risk areas. Also, they have about 35 states, including the FCT, and 249 local governments, which will have moderate flood risk, flood risk areas, and another 377 local governments that were forecasted to have low risk areas. So we should prepare because, the flood always comes and washes away the expected harvest and worsens the situation. So if we have storage and prepared for it, it's better for areas not already affected.
But they talked about the flood. Last month, and we've not really had rain this season.
Yeah, so that's
the southwest. There's already heavy rain causing flood.
Yeah, so
and Zamfara, they are enjoying the rain while they are harvesting, but they're also afraid of it increasing.
Other stories?
Yes, I have the NDLA story. They arrested a Vietnam-bound businessman, Paul Okwi Mbaduka, at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. They said after 4 days of excretion observation, he had excreted a total of 88 wraps of illicit drugs with gross weight of 1.710 kilograms. They said that he claimed to be a businessman who a friend had approached and had promised him $2,000 if he was willing to, traffic this drug. $2,000 only. This man put his whole life
at risk.
At risk. Anyway, other arrests have been made as well. They talked about at the international airport in Lagos here. They found 800 grams of cannabis concealed in noodles. This one was supposed to be going to the Congo. And the suspect who was arrested, called Desalu Taufik Temitope. He claimed he was promised $10,000 for the delivery while he was arrested in Port Harcourt. 892,400 bottles of codeine-wrapped syrup worth over 6 billion naira were recovered from 5 containers that were shipped from India. We know NDLA gives us this report, daily to update us. And well done But it shows that these criminals are not backing down anytime
At
soon.
all, at the risk of their life.
I'm telling
Have
you.
a story.
Yes, I do. The federal government has mandated all higher institutions in the country to regularly submit their matriculation lists to the Federal Ministry of Education no later than 3 months after matriculation ceremonies. The list, the government said, must be submitted through the dedicated channel of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board. The initiative is one of the recommendations made by the committee set up by the federal government to combat fake degree mills or racketeering in the country, because we've seen this now that so many people have been going for NYSC when they've not even graduated from schools and fake admissions. So they are trying to do this to combat that. He said that in March, the federal government set up an interministerial investigative committee on degree certificate mailing to probe the activities of certificate racketeers following an investigative report published by Daily Nigerian, which exposed the activities of fake degrees. He also said that the Minister of Education, Tahir Mamman, having received the report of the committee, noted that holders of fake degrees from Nigerian and foreign institutions will be flushed out of the system. Because, this has been going on. People are making money from it.
Yeah.
So they want to, bridge all the gaps. So immediately after matriculation, 3 months, you must submit the list so that when people go for NYSC, they cross-check it to make sure that it corresponds. They got into the university, they graduated at the same time. That's the time they are doing their NYSC, so there can be checks and balances within the
we just take this really sad story. About 20 medical students have been kidnapped. They are from the University of Maiduguri, University of Jos, and they were traveling to Enugu, and they were kidnapped along the Otukpa-Enugu road on Thursday evening. They were going to attend the Catholic Medical and Dental Students Annual Convention in Enugu when they were abducted. The IGP has already said that they are deploying the tactical operation and assets to ensure the prompt rescue of this kidnapped medical student. 20 of them. They will deploy drones, deploy helicopters, everything, and I'm really praying for their success as they try to find and rescue these medical students who have been kidnapped. Our hearts and prayers are with them. Moving on to Daily Sun, major headline: the IGP tenure is rounding off. The new law sparks tension in the police. Another news: seized presidential jet. Amosu Utomi fight over cancelled contract. Kaduna troops kill 2. Terrorists recover arms and motorcycle foil terrorist attack. Bisman, we're taking that story from the NDLEA. Self-centered leadership is ruining Nigeria from former President Obasanjo. Again, PDP and APC trade war over alleged harassment of unlawful harassment and unlawful arrest by Edo police. Death toll rise to 74 in Benue. Can we take one story here, or have we taken all the...
I can take the major headline.
Okay.
So we have they said tension is building up at the Nigerian Police Force headquarters in Abuja over a growing plot to use the amendments of the Nigerian Police Act to extend the tenure of the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Olukayode Agbetokun. They said that the new amendment, the president can decide to retain the IGP after serving for either 35 years or attaining the age of 60. The amendment further links the tenure of the IGP to a 4-year term of his or her appointment as stipulated in the letter given to him or her by the president. So Agbetokun is expected to retire September 4th, but based on this, that means he may have his tenure elongated, and that there are also allegations that he's actually lobbying to remain in office. So they highlighted the part of the amendment that they're looking at, and they said that any person appointed to the office of the Inspector General of Police shall remain in office until the end of the term stipulated in the letter of appointment in line with provisions 7(6) of the Act. Anyways, in the Senate, they talked about it. They think that it's a good, that not just this one, but the amendment that's supposed to happen, it will revolutionize the police force. They think it will modernize it and help the country. But this part of it is what is making a few people uncomfortable.
Because it might mean extension of his tenure.
Or his tenure, and then we have others who may be waiting.
And might not get the position because
they will retire soon.
Also, sorry.